Hello.
Hello.
Thank
I
you
don't
for
know if I'm going for the video. Hold on. Sorry.
uh,
I always got it won't let me do it until after, which is
I know
weird.
that's after a certain update, it's been like that. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I've got me. So I learned too that on my client recordings, I had a certain mode in Zoom enacted so that I'm like super, super tiny and then you're really huge and then it goes back and forth. But now I've got it so that
It stays.
you're on the left, I'm on the right. We're at equal portions of the screen.
Okay, I'm little right now and I have you as bigger so I can pay attention to you because I can't stand watching myself. It's like, oh, stop that.
Well, it's at least for me, this works because then when I upload it
Yeah.
to YouTube and all that, which we are finally making somewhat of a dent on,
I bet. That's got to be hard.
it's a lot. Well, I also decided to stop using Google OneDrive. But unfortunately, uh,
Uh-oh. Like,
well, in a nutshell, I had about 50 gigs worth of files. But when I canceled it, now I can only have 15. So
oh,
they gave me a notice like 2 weeks ago. They said, "Hey, look, like if you don't either get more space or clear it up, you're not going to be able to send or receive emails or do anything, make any sort of changes whatsoever on the drive, including this. I have this master spreadsheet of clientele that I have to be able to edit. So like
right.
after today, after our meeting, I will put another tally for you so that we
Right.
can keep
Keep
track
track.
of how many, but I'm not able to edit it so far. So we've been doing pen and paper for a while, but since those 2 weeks ago, I have been working diligently almost every single day, um, backing up the files that I have on the drive onto my external hard drive so that we can delete it. It's been so much work. Oh my God.
It's a pain in the butt how they get you. They make it sound like it's going to be all neat and they just get you over a barrel.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't mind paying it each year if it wasn't for the fact that they've been so spotty and they've been really difficult to work with. And it's Google. Like
Yeah. And
all
they got
sorts,
the control.
they've had all sorts of issues these past like 3 years that I've been using it. So, and then now my wife is with me, same physical proximity. So as my virtual assistant, she's not virtual anymore. She's a literal assistant now. So if we need a file, we can just airdrop it to each other because we both have MacBooks. I made sure that that was the hardware was good. It was really hard for me to get a MacBook, but I was like,
Ah,
the one thing that made me decide to purchase it is that they last forever if you take care of them.
smart
And
move.
and I've had this one still. This one is a 2008, and for whatever reason, I've always been able to just keep laptops for many, many years past what normal people have them for. Um, but yeah, this is my first MacBook. It's our first MacBook. Hopefully, we'll be able to hold on to them for a long, long, long time. But yeah, it's been a doozy. So I've been really, really busy. Um,
How are you feeling? Are you feeling any better?
oh yeah, yeah. I think last time we spoke, I was coming over
You
more.
got really sick.
Oh, we've been struggling. December has been a month, man.
It was
Just
going around. Lots of people I heard, they think it was food poisoning, and then later they say no, it was the flu. I mean, it just comes on really strong, really
oh,
hard, out of nowhere.
do you think that was global too? Because the first night that we got into here, like our apartment, her parents live close by, not that close by, but like 20 minutes away. And the next morning, when I woke up, I was getting sick, and I went downstairs, and her father could hear it. he said something and then she translated. She's like, "Oh yeah, he's saying that some type of flu is going around."
Yeah.
But over here, they say that right after it rains, people get sick because when
Oh,
it rains here, it like really, really rains. Speaking of, we had a monsoon
oh
come through
God.
yesterday, and the window is still. Let's see if I can show you the window. Ooh, um, I've got wires and stuff. Do you see that?
Why?
Well,
Wow.
it's so humid that it just doesn't ever.
Doesn't dry up.
No. Um, we had
That's
concrete
scary.
a little bit if you're not used to it. The When I lived in Taiwan the first time, the first year I came to Taiwan in 2012, they had a pretty big storm come through, and it scared me shitless. Um,
Scare me. I hear the word monsoon. I'm instantly going, uh-oh, that sounds really dangerous.
it flash floods. So um, the main city or like the capital city of this island. It's a pretty big island that we're on. It's like the second or third biggest one.
Mhm.
The capital city had videos posting on Facebook yesterday of flash floods, and it was like 3 feet deep. Pretty nuts. Um,
I
People still go on about their business.
seriously?
Yeah.
I'd be like running to higher ground. I'd be like, 3 feet? No, 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 no.
What higher ground? I mean, it's everywhere, and it'll drain in within a day. So people are like, yeah, whatever. Thank God it didn't happen here. Let's just say that. Um, but it was pretty strong last night. It rained like 5, 6 times. And when it comes down, we've got tin roofs. So you can't hear. You'll have to like shout. It's like I was shouting to my wife. I was like, ah, it's, it's like anyway, yeah,
Interesting.
it rains cats and dogs.
I'm gonna guess it doesn't rain very often, but when it does, it rains a lot.
Oh, it rains all the time.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're close to the equator. We're like 300 miles from the equator, maybe
Okay.
200 to 300 miles. So it's tropical. And yesterday was extremely humid. I woke up and well, we're lucky because we've got in bedroom air conditioners. So it not only keeps it at a good temperature, but it also dehumidifies it. But the moment I open that door, boom, it's like a wall of air, like literally. Um, and downstairs, I'm starting to get used to it. My body takes, I'm hoping, less than 3 months to adapt to it because that's how it was in Taiwan. It took me about 3 months before I stopped sweating profusely. I
Yeah.
still, I'm still sweating profusely, just standing still. Walking outside, I get drenched within like 10 minutes. Um,
Oh,
because it's the combination of the heat and the humidity. It's just so humid. Um, so yeah, sorry about that. It's been one
good.
week. Like I've been busy and I had clients back to back, and then today has been busy because I've had a couple of reschedules, including you, um, pinched in between when her family is about to arrive because it's New Year's for us, and her entire extended family is going to come to this apartment at noon, which
Oh,
is
shortly.
in a couple hours. Yeah, in a couple hours. So, yeah, and I've got to cook some pasta salad. I was gonna introduce them to that. Just like,
Oh, they'll like that. That's a good one to.
yeah, I think so. They've got some weird stuff here for traditions. Maybe this will be a nice segue into what we got to talk about with you today, as it usually goes. I don't know, but for
Or your
me,
dream.
yeah, I've been having dreams every single night here. Any crazy dream last night? I think so.
You said you had like a weird dream the last time.
I so in the US for years and years and years, I never really had dreams. Like maybe once a year, which is
Okay.
odd because as a child, I dreamed every single night vividly. Um, but it's almost like I don't know, since 5, 6 years ago, I think it started. But since coming to this particular location, I've been dreaming almost every single night.
Maybe to open the floodgates again.
Yeah, but she's been dreaming a lot too, and just really weird stuff. But she's my wife. I don't know if I told you. She has abilities also, but
No, you did
she
not tell me that.
oh really? Yeah. So she picks up stuff. And actually today she picked up on you for the first time. She picks up on other people, but I think it's the first time she picked up on you. But before I got onto the call with you, um, she's like, "Is she kind?" And then before I could answer, she's like, "Yeah, she's kind." And then she
Aw.
say she's like, she's confused about her life, isn't she? I was like, "Yeah, that's Christy."
Yeah, yeah, very confused. Normally I'm not, but I'm doing a really good job of late.
My wife gets very prophetic visions. She, it's like this is going to happen, and then it does. I'm not as much that. I'm more of like I just know what to say or or what's relevant or what people are going through, and
Right.
sometimes it'll be sprinkled in with I'll see something, I'll hear something, um, and oftentimes I'll be able to distinguish who I'm hearing or where it's coming from, i.e., if it's your guides versus my guides, or if it's a literal uh, relative of yours, um, what they look like, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes, usually, it's a combination of that. Like I'll see somebody, or I'll just know. Sometimes I'll feel too, like as if it's myself, but I'll know that it's not me. So there's slightly different ways. How do I distinguish that? It's a natural question that I get so much from people. I feel like we're about to ask that. Um, it's
I do kind of understand because at
yeah,
different times in my life, I've picked up things and you just know. It's hard to explain to somebody. You
yeah.
know, it's not your voice, it's not your thought.
Hmm.
They would guide me to go like, they would guide me to, I'd find cash as a little kid. I'd find like a $10 bill or a $5 bill.
That's still, is it still
It
that
was
way?
cool. No, no. It was, I think it was just when I was younger. They direct me to sales now. I'll be like not in the mood, and then something will say, "Nope, you need to go shopping," and it'll go the thing I was looking for. It'll be on sale.
Wow, you've got a little thrifty like elf from a leprechaun type of dude or something. I'm just teasing. Like who's like, oh,
They're
there's a sale
kind.
over there. Follow the gold.
Well, and it's not all the time. I'll, if I get a weird feeling, I've learned to. Um, an example of that too is when I was a kid, my parents went on a trip, and my mom wanted me to water her plants, and I went and watered it every couple days. And one of the days I got a voice in my head that said, no, don't go yet. Don't go yet. And a
Mm,
couple hours later, don't go yet. And then all of a sudden I got a feeling, okay, it's time to go.
mm.
And I went over to their house, and literally as I walked up, it was my childhood home too. The phone was ringing as I was unlocking the door, and it was my parents. Their car had broken down. I mean, so that was kind of cool. It was like I
Wow.
know to trust that feeling if I get it.
And
It
the
doesn't
timing.
come all the time. It's very, very sporadic. But every once in a while, you just know. You're like, okay, it's telling me to wait. I don't know why.
You're multifaceted too, because it's like that voice is masculine, feels like to me. And
Yes,
I think it's literally somebody you used to know when you were that admiral type fellow um,
interesting.
from that other. This is the star seed thing, 100%. I mean, the first couple of words that you started speaking about this, I got that right away. But then there's another layer to it too. There's the just knowing part. There's like the they call that, clear
Clairvoyant.
cognizance.
Yeah, I think it's
Co
that one.
Clear cognizance. It's like you just know. Um, that's you.
I do know I
Uh,
got that.
and it's cool to see the layering of it. The salad. Maybe that's how salad ties into this. I don't know. But I was going to talk about. I felt compelled to talk about like my great grandmother. The salads that my wife is preparing that people like here are kind of kitsch. They're kind of they're kind of like,
What is kitsch? I don't know what that is.
for lack of a better term, uh, for uh, for lack of being punny, they're cheesy.
Okay.
Not the salads could literally be cheesy, but like they're, like in the 1970s, you had like uh those like cookbooks, and they had the weird shit um
Yes.
like lime jello mold mixed with like mayonnaise, and then you put walnuts in it, and then it's just like the weirdest thing. Kitsch is like when people try to make art that's like corny or cheesy, or it's just like gaudy, um or just like extra. If there's like a decoration, or if there's art, or if there's food or something like that, I think food can kitsch. Um, my main guy is like, why not? Uh, I might not be using that word properly, but it's like over the top.
Okay.
It, it gets dated. Like people don't do that anymore, I thought, until I came to the Philippines. But the salads remind me of my great grandmother. So it's like it might be because of poverty, it might be because of just the Philippines is this kind of time capsule place sometimes.
Yeah.
I do feel like I'm in the 90s when I'm here, not only because the prices are about the same as they were in the 90s when I was like little kid, but
Right.
the mall culture is alive and well here, as if, because when I was a kid, my father took us to malls all the time.
Yes.
That's when people actually went to malls, and they do
I
that.
exactly. I
So
miss that.
you should come to for a vacation, come to the Philippines. Like it's A, affordable, and B, like they've got that like active and alive. And the malls were built by Americans because the Philippines was an American colony from roughly like 1908 until 1946, the year after the war. So we built the roads, the infrastructure, and a lot of the malls. And we imparted our culture onto them.
Right.
The fast food culture is that way. Fortunately, a lot of the food additives are,
Yeah, that I was just gonna say not necessarily our good traits.
no, not not all. They've got a lot of naval bases, things like that still. So I think maybe that's where some of that comes from. Maybe the people. But anyway, I don't know. It's something. What is the connection with Christi? Because they always take me on these wild goose chases with you, where it's like,
Your grandmother, your great grandmother?
yeah. Well, my great grandmother is a guide for me now. Since she passed, she's always been with me, but she didn't step into the forefront
That's what it
until,
is. It's that.
you think it's that.
Because
Go.
my great grandmother, my mom's dad's mom has been made herself a she appeared to my friend Sharon when I went to visit her in Texas last year at this time.
You didn't know her very long while she was.
No, my mom is the oldest of the family, and my mom was her favorite. And I was the oldest grandchild on that side. On my dad's side, I'm the youngest, almost the youngest. So yeah, I didn't. She was pretty old by the time I got came around.
I see the number six as she's saying it. So maybe you were 6 years old when she passed, or it could be.
I think a little bit older, but
mm,
in that area. I remember her really well, and I also remember her house and visiting. It's where I get my gardening from, is from her. It's her flower
Mm,
beds that I remember. She had ginormous flower beds.
yeah, she did. She liked ginormous flowers too, period.
Yeah.
I
And
think
she
she,
was a short little woman, 4 foot nothing.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I thought my
Her
wife,
name was Minnie. Minnie, her nickname is Minnie, but Minnie, I know the full length, but no one ever called her by the full name.
4 foot even. Goodness gracious. I thought my wife was short. She's 4'11".
She's probably four something, but
Jeez.
it's four something, four.
Oh, not like literally 4 feet
No,
tall.
no, no, no. Because I'm 5'4". My mom's 5'2". Her mom is 5 foot. That side of the family all gets shorter. I'm tall.
You're tall? Jesus. My mom is 5'8". My sister is 5'10". Got
Exactly.
tall freaking people in my family. I should have been taller, but I started smoking cigarettes in high school, and that's precisely when I
The bad time.
stopped growing. Well,
Oh,
it's exactly when I stopped growing when I picked up the habit. My father's 6 foot. My mom is 5'8". So it was like we've got everybody tall, except my sister just beneath me is a little short. She's 5'6", I think. But
yeah,
that's interesting. It's like people used to be the average height of, like people here and people like your great or like your grandmother or your great
yeah.
grandmother.
She's
Um,
my great grandmother. Yeah.
yeah, she wore glasses.
A little bit. I didn't see her wear them much. She also had gifts. She predicted when her husband was going to pass away because my grandfather, she told them on the farm, don't go anywhere. And she said something bad's going to happen today. And that's when her husband passed away.
That is so wild that I just so happened to tell you about my wife, and my wife just happened to like interject herself today randomly because there's been so many other sessions with you where she's just been silent. But then today, as soon as I'm coming in, she looks over and she's like, and then I start telling you about her premonitions. Do you get premonitions?
I do sometimes.
Okay, there we go. That's what that's about. And
I dream them too.
I just saw a cucumber. What is that? Is that a placeholder for something? I feel like that's I feel like that's like it's relating to something like you might have had like a dream lately or maybe even before. Were you gardening in your dream? Growing something in your dream? Or what in your waking hours do you have a vision where there's like cucumbers there or you've got a cucumber patch or something?
I have a vegetable garden that I've planted in the last, like right at the beginning of the pandemic. I do have cucumbers and tomatoes. I grow the tomatoes for my dad. Um,
They seed themselves every year.
do they?
No, I was that was a question mark.
No, 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 no. I replant them every year. I do have a huge
Ah,
raspberry patch. It's all kind
mm,
of in one big area.
okay.
So
That would be awesome if they did.
I planted blueberries, but those don't do much.
They take a while yeah, you have to really tend to them, I hear, because
Probably.
they're literally a bush.
Right.
They'll grow into them. Um,
I know you got to plant a couple variety, which I did, and they've been out there for a while. The birds love them. They get to them before I do. They go out there and feast. I'm
what
just
about
like,
it? I had strawberries one year, and
I do have strawberries.
man, sounds good. See, they don't grow out here. So I'm missing the berries here. But my wife was funny because this year she tried strawberries the very first time earlier when I came here. In when was it? March, April, May. Around then, we took a short little vacation to the mountain city of Baguio, where they're famous for strawberries.
Oh.
They're all everybody's used to like artificial strawberry flavoring.
Right.
And then we buy some strawberries, and she's so like she feels betrayed. And she's like strawberries, the most deceptive fruit ever. I was like, oh my God. She's just like, oh, so disappointed about strawberries. They taste like nothing. It's like, well, I can see where she's coming from, but I like strawberries. Um,
I do too.
but the
It depends on the kind you get too. So if they're
yeah,
really, really big ones that are,
they a lot of the times the produce here will taste really bad because the water quality is bad. You can kind of taste like the pollution in it,
gotcha.
the yucks. So I've caught that a couple times. That's why we're growing our own here. We have some seedlings downstairs. We have cucumbers growing, but I don't think it's because of us that I'm seeing the cucumber. They're like, let that be. That'll click with you when it needs to.
Okay. Okay.
But it's just
Because
like,
I don't remember a dream with it, but that doesn't mean it won't come to me later.
no,
Because I
it'll
haven't been remembering any of my dreams of recent.
mm.
I know I'm dreaming and I'll wake up and then I'm aware and then by the time I go back to sleep, I don't remember it when I wake up because I'm
Well,
waking myself up in the middle of the night.
right. Well, the thing that's lately because and the dreams that you're having lately are more psychological stuff. It's more like there's different categories of dreams. But the
Yep.
dreams that I feel compelled to talk about have little distinction between you getting prophetic types of visions while you're in waking hours as well. So they're presenting it to me as if there's little difference because you've had vivid dreams before that seem more real than reality.
Yes.
Um,
And they're bright
they,
colored.
yeah, that's what they're like to me too. And that's interesting that you talk about that because for the first time, I'm really noticing that picture frame that you have behind you of is it an abstract painting?
Is it one in that corner?
Yeah.
That's my daughter's. These are, she painted or drew pictures. It's hard to, you can't see them all, but there's different ones. There's like, they're too far away now, but there's a cat through the different years. She was artistic. And that one was when she went to San Francisco with her father. And it's kind of like in crayons. She probably might have been in elementary school.
But really, I
Yeah.
it's artistic even. Like it looks like a
Yeah.
painter would have painted it.
And one of the other pictures is with pencils, and it's a lily because I like lilies, and the cat was probably with colored pencils. The lily was more in high school. The other ones are like junior high, high school. I mean,
I'm drawn to that. I don't know why for right now.
well, maybe it has to do with her though.
I get specific. Okay, yeah, it is about her. Is this tying in? Have you been having visions of her lately or involving her?
While I'm awake in the house, I've had
Yeah.
moments I envision her like walking up the stairs. It's like a flashback
Mm,
because I can see how she would come up. I have a uh two-story walkout, like so there's a main level, a stairs that goes upstairs to the bedrooms, and then another set that goes in the basement with another bedroom and a bathroom and the living room. So and then it walks out to a split level. And she would come upstairs past my bedroom. So I keep thinking I'm catching her like through the corner of my eye. It's
wow.
I don't know if it's a flashback or, and it's not
No,
like I'm thinking about her at the moment. It's just like,
no, that's not a flashback. I think it's literally your daughter astral projecting. I'm wondering, do you see her? I'm getting kind of chills as I say this back. Um, do you see her as a younger version of herself? Or do you
yeah,
see her as, yeah, she's astral projecting. Here's the crazy thing. So time time space. Okay. I'm deciding what I want to say to you because I'm getting a
That's
lot
okay.
at
I
once.
get it. Sorry.
I'm going to tell you a story
Okay.
from my experience because it relates to this, and then we'll get into it because this is kind of cool. Um, when I was about 5 years old, I had a particular vision. Well, I always had visions as a kid. Like I was much more visual back then, and I might get into that later on in my life too. But often we as sensitives and psychics, we have periods of our lives that one or two abilities is more pronounced or it's more of our go-to for whatever reason. And that reason usually reveals itself later in our life, like when we're in our senior years. We look back at it. But throughout my childhood, I had constant visions. And I also had not prophetic, but I had very visual dreams. I guess you could say they're prophetic because here's where this story is going. I had a vision or a dream, which I can't really tell anymore if it was just a dream or if it was something that I got while I was awake, because to me, there's little distinction between it,
Yeah.
again, related to what we were just talking about. But I was in this room, in this bathroom, and I was on the ceiling looking down. I think you get these a lot too from that perspective, like floating, looking down, right? And there's this black woman in the bathtub with a dog and a cat next to her.
Okay.
And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, as a kid, I
Right.
didn't get it. Like in a tub, having a bath, um, with these two animals. And so I didn't think anything of it, right? Fast forward, when I uh was dating my twin flame
Okay.
4 or 5 years ago, um, she was taking a bath and she had her cat and her dog in the bathroom. And at that precise moment that I walk in there in that particular day, it connected me. And I had this light bulb go off, and I was like, holy shit, this is exactly what I saw. I'm here. Um,
That's cool.
it's wild. And I still get goosebumps even talking about it to other people. Um, she was an extremely, extremely important role in my life.
Mhm.
If I had not met her, engaged with her in the way that I have and learned from her, went through the experiences with her, I would not be doing the type of work that I'm doing today. Like literally right now, I wouldn't be working with people and I wouldn't be doing or offering the type of healing.
Correct.
Did I tell you the story about her, about how oh man, this is going to knock your freaking socks off. So we'll get back to you and your daughter. Okay. But just real, I'll try briefly in a nutshell. So the way I discovered the healing practice that I do, um, uh, it comes from a really scary situation that happened
Oh,
with me and my ex. Yeah, my same ex, the twin flame. So I didn't know at the time till after, but she has this like we'll call it a spot on her brain.
okay.
Um, and so we had the whole house to ourselves because she's got two kids, or she might have more now. I don't know. But at the time we moved together, she had two kids, and a dog and a cat, as you already know.
Yep.
So it was just us and the animals. Her children's father had them on that weekend, so we had some time together. And when we were together, um, she suddenly went unconscious
Oh,
and she wasn't breathing and she had no pulse. And naturally, I freaked out because I'd never been in a situation like that in my entire life before. And I was calling out to the universe. I was calling out to her guides, my guides, to her ancestors, my ancestors, any passerbys, any spirits at all who wanted to help and could. I was calling them into the space and saying, please don't let her die. Please don't let her die. Please help me. What do I do? Holy shit. Oh my God. And I wasn't like freaking out, but I was getting there. Um,
right.
there were so many spirits in that house. It was swirling. And still to this day, I've never been in a situation where I've had that many spirits all at once. There were thousands and thousands of them. And the cat was like,
Oh, yeah.
her dog was just nothing, like unfazed. He was like trying to play with me, and I was like, dude, do you not see like? But the cat was different. um,
The cat had abilities and could pick up on it.
oh, 100%, 100%. She was actually there's things to say about the cat too, and actually, as you mentioned that, I'm being reminded of it. That cat lived as a black woman in the South. That when she passed on, she wanted to be a cat. She wanted to be a family animal. And my ex found that cat in a shelter and she just spoke to her. She didn't want a cat, just came by and she's like, you belong with us. And that cat was so tolerant, so freaking tolerant. I was just thinking, Christy, I was just thinking of this cat the other day. What the hell? Was it yesterday or was it 2 days ago? Just like randomly popped into my mind. And here we are talking about this in this session. You are so quantum. Like you at I've got clients that are have unique abilities, but it's like you are so freaking quantum. Every time that we get into a session, it's just like, does time go forward or backwards or up or down? Or it's like all this stuff just comes together as this like symphony. Weird. And then I struggle like having to like put it into some sort of order or give it some context and give it some sentences and it was like blah, 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 blah.
No, you're doing good.
I'm over here and I'm over there. But anyway,
I'm like that though too, though. That's what
you
happened.
are. But Jesus, man, like I was literally thinking about this cat the other day. That is wild. And I was like, why am I thinking of this cat? Now I know. Um, thank you. So anyway, yeah, that cat, that was her thing. So she was tuned in. That cat literally was tuned in. Her cat would tolerate so much abuse. I it wasn't intended to be abuse, but it was like
No,
her
like little
daughter,
kids playing with
her
them.
oh
Yeah.
my God, her daughter was so controlling because of my ex. I didn't realize that until later.
Right. Those are the dots you connect later.
Those are right, but that's also related to you too. So there's all these elements in the story that are multifaceted and why I'm
Yep.
expressing this, I guess. Okay, so anyway, going back to the situation. So I was calling out, I was doing this, I was like, oh my God, this is a serious situation. She wasn't breathing, she didn't have a pulse. Somehow, I just knew to do the action, to breathe life into me from source, and then to kind of like code blue, ka-chunk, but with my hands. And I put my hands over her hands, the palms of my hands over her hands. And I, I, it, I put
The
my
energy
life
flowing.
force into her. Yeah. And so, her back arched like this. And she all of a sudden just like gasped air. She looked at me and she was like so disoriented. She was like, what's going on? Where am I? And I was like, your heart just stopped and you stopped breathing. We need to call an ambulance. And she was like out of it. And she told me, she's like, don't call an ambulance. I'm gonna die if I do, if we do. Like on
What?
the way to the hospital. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And I was like, do you need anything? And she's like, get me some water, get me some whatever, whatever. And she was really out of it. She and so I went into the kitchen, got some water, came back. By the time I came back, she was already unconscious, not breathing again.
Oh my.
So here we go, round two, and I did some more, and it's literally what I do for clients now, and I did for you. Not the same exact for everybody, but it's like that realm that I go to
Yes.
is the same realm that I work with everybody, including myself. Um, so we did this about 3 times,
Okay.
and each time when she would come back, when she'd come to, it wasn't her that I was speaking to. And I realized that it was her grandmother. Maybe that's another dot that we're connecting here with this. It so her grandmother she was really, really close to her grandmother, and her
Mhm.
grandmother died in a pretty horrific way.
Mm.
But her grandmother has abilities, and that's where her abilities come from on her side of things. So her grandmother was coming through and talking to me literally, like as Christiana being a third person. Like she was speaking, she's like, she is blah, 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 as I was talking. And I felt a different presence. It was so freaking wild. And anyway, what I
No,
ended up
that's
doing,
cool.
it
That is
is,
so cool.
but it's like, it's one of the most intense experiences I've ever had in my life so far. And I've come to depth. I've almost died myself many times, and it's like this still feels so intense uh, for some reason. But it's because it awakened me to an ability that I have.
Well,
Uh,
and you're more awake too, versus if you're dying, you're subconsciously,
yeah, I
you're
guess
checked
that's
out.
true. Yeah, yeah. Like you're fully aware of everything that's going on, and even from another person's experience, being sensitive, you can pick up on that stuff. But so I eventually got her into the bathtub. That's what it led to. This scene about the bathtub, seeing her. Um, so I put her in a salt bath to ground her because
Okay.
I could tell that her soul was trying to leave her body and it came back and it would leave and come back. Um, the the last time that she was in the bathtub and she fully regained consciousness, um, she was crying because like her grandmother was talking the first 2 times. And
Right.
the second time, she looked at me and she was like, she doesn't want to come back, but it's up to you. You can convince her. I was like, Jesus Christ. Um, that's exactly what happened. I always wear a silver ring everywhere I go to kind of like, I don't know if I told you, but it prevents attachments from
No.
forming and
Okay.
it can kind of ground a person.
Okay.
Whenever I go to any events like I met you at, I always wear silver. It's just a rule. I don't break it, especially when I'm doing work.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so I was wearing that day, and I took it off. I put it uh, on her ring finger, and I put tons and tons of salt in that bath, and I just put her in there. And I was talking to her grandmother, and then her grandmother fades out as I put that ring on her, and then Christiana comes back, and she's just sobbing. She's like, "I'm evil. I don't deserve to live. I don't want to live." Then I was like trying to pep talk her, right? It's like you've got so much to live for. Life is a gift. You've got your children, you've got me, you've got other people in your life. Little did I know till later from my own healing of immense pain that came on because of that relationship. She had been lying and she was guilty of the things she wasn't telling and the things that she was repeating in her own life that I was showing her by being her twin flame.
Okay. You
'Cause,
you reflected the mirror onto her so she could see the patterns, essentially.
yeah, she is like, so a twin flame literally are two people or two beings that are alive at the same time that share a portion of a soul.
So correct.
Doesn't mean they are literally the entire T of a soul reflected. Just means you have portions of the soul. Um,
Okay.
with her, Zoom is like, where's the hand? Hey, how's it going? Let's see, Zoom will do that sometimes. Explode with hearts or something. Um, so that portion of the soul, I want to say this to be fair to her. That's why I'm thinking of the words. She's chosen a lot of really dark choices in her life.
Yes.
And she hasn't treated people the best. And that comes from her own trauma with her mother. She's got an extremely narcissistic mother. But little did I know until after the fact that she was actually kind of emulating her mother. And I was ignoring all of these freaking red flags, all of these signs. Um, and but she was feeling really guilty about that. And I didn't put two and two together at the time. But
Okay.
that's part of why she wanted to leave. She felt like she wasn't forgivable um, of the betrayal that she was a big part of um, enabling and doing herself. Um, but that's the gist of that, you know. And there's all these different components, right, that we're talking about today. But with your daughter,
It ties into my daughter because
it does. And then talking about my twin flame, it comes up about this dude that you're with too. Um, and I'm asking them if he's literally your twin flame. I don't think he is, though. But I think the
no,
reason that there's, because I said this once before, he's not, and that's why I was second guessing myself and asking. I was about to say it, but I was like, that's not right. Um,
it's my daughter, I think.
ah,
And then that ties into the hard lessons because that's what my kid's doing.
uh, God,
Because I was guessing that I didn't come to me right away, and I was listening to
I love how these sessions unfold. I just want you to know that this is so crazy.
you.
It's like
No, I enjoy
it's
them.
like
When I say I enjoy them, I do.
it's like I'm literally on a ride with you because they're different than how I channel other people. If you ever
It's,
have a chance to look at any of the stuff that I post publicly of
I have
clients,
it, and I need to.
if you're fine with it, do you mind sharing any of these? Because my wife
That's
will go in and take snippets.
that's fine. I'd be willing.
Oh, thank you. That'd be so freaking cool because this can help a lot of other people too. But it's just because I've always kind of known that you need to not know stuff in order for the spice of life to flow through your veins. You need adventure. You need spontaneity. You need something that isn't going to be cracked as a code and simply delivered to you on a silver platter. Because it's lifeless that way. It's and this was your previous lifetime, your south node, if you will. Could literally be too. But it's this very matter of factness that you had as this sort of admiral type person, sort of like leadership role that you took. You were very
Okay.
matter of fact and you just enacted decisions so quickly. And this, the beauty of being a human that allured you is that you don't always know things, but you do know things, but not in the way that you knew.
Not that I want to know. I pick up on things that I don't realize it. It just and it's
Right,
always odd stuff. It's not the things you want to know.
right. Well, that
Occasionally,
right, but that's the magic of being human. That can only it's an unfolding. it's and it really triggers star seeds because we are not patient. We are like, why do we have to have this like
I want to know. I want it to
bloom
come.
this why does the bloom have to take decades or lifetimes, literally? For you, it's not going to take lifetimes because you're open to it and
That's
you're
good to know.
oh yeah, right. I appreciate it about myself too. A lot of earthbound souls, um, as colloquially referred. Uh, these people have been on Earth again and again, 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 again. It's the people that maybe naturally excel at business. Um, you know, you can always tell when you meet somebody like that. They're so wrapped up in the process and in the earthly kind of stuff, uh, that they sort of lost sight of the bigger picture. They don't bump through life necessarily, but they need to be awakened. I think that I
Right. I
think
know
the
what you
reason,
mean by that. They're
right?
following the same old path and not any, it's the same old.
You're here to help instigate that in people. By the way,
I'm the boat rocker.
yeah, but the irony is you don't need to do or not do anything to piss certain people off. I've got that too.
Trust me.
I've come to terms with that now in my life. I used to take that as such a my problem.
Right. You take it personal in the beginning because you're like, what did I do? I didn't even do anything to you.
I know, and you want the best for them.
Yeah.
I heard some, what was it yesterday? I was hearing, let me see if I can get the exact words. I saw something about this. This always happens with you. Whenever I try to get exact words in something, I don't.
That's okay. There's so much coming through is what it is.
Not necessarily. I've got Margot, another client. She gets words. She gets sentences, and they are concise, and they are just like, wow. Like I feel like an author or like a poet sometimes. Sometimes they even come in and they rhyme, like I'm freaking Dr. Seuss. Because that's what Margot needs. She needs to loosen up and let go of control
Yeah.
and have and enjoy and appreciate.
Yeah.
So everybody's different, but it's like with you, Christy, like it's so poetic. It's like painting. It's like colors and feelings. It's like the keyboard is different, and it's like the keyboard for Margot has 86 keys, and you've got like 4,678 times pi. It's like it comes out as it's like I should sing something and do an interpretive dance while I like do this for you.
I've always liked music, so that's fits.
Yeah, I should play a song for you. I should just have a flute. Just that's our session. Just whatever comes through. It's like um maybe I'll text it to you later. But it's like I had some I don't know if you call them like inspirational quotes or something, but just stuff like that that lands in your feed or is
It
shared by
makes sense.
somebody. What was it? But it's now that I've been dwelling on it, I forgot about what I was even talking about. Anyway,
The subconscious will work on it. It'll bring it back.
yeah.
It's done it before where we've talked and then it pops back in.
Yeah, it's just but another thing too is you're right. I mean, everything's on the plate with you. It's like I think that's another thing too for me trying to sort it through, being a translator of sorts. It's like I have to figure out what kind of lexicon I'm going to use to uh, present what needs to be presented. But with you, it always takes on this storytelling type of medium, which I really like, actually.
I love storytelling, so that's probably why it's coming through
Mhm.
that way. I enjoyed that as a kid.
Me too. Um,
If you gave me a choice between reading the book and listening to someone read it to me, I'd always
mm,
pick the listening to it because your
oh,
imagination could get more vivid and
100%. Yeah, I've never really liked reading either as much because I find that do you do this? You ever like gloss over the words and you're like, what did I just read? Then you go back.
yes, yes. And then you got to read it again, and then you realize you didn't, so you got to read it again.
Right. It's like the words are they're not designed to be, but they entrap. It's almost like they're grabbing and grasping.
Right.
And that grabbing and grasping is not compatible with how we function, like people like you and I. Um, I'm just amused. It's like when I channel with you, it's like I'm getting stuff for me also. My guides are like telling me stuff on top of it. It's just so many layers. I want to capture it, but I can't. So I have to figure out what I'm gonna. It's an act of discernment for me, but I'm also
Right.
seeing it in real time as I get it for you. So I feel like we watched The Grinch recently.
Oh,
You know that instrument where they've got like three people pedaling, one person conducting, three people like contributing to the horn. There's like a
yes.
triangle on it. There's like
Yep.
someone banging a drum on it, and it's like this giant cacophony.
Yep. No, I,
Like
I know which one you're talking about.
it's like that, whatever the heck that was. The Hua compass or whatever the weird name that he would always give it. The Wang Wumpus or whatever.
You
Um,
know what? It's been a while.
it's like I feel like I'm trying to play that as, as I'm getting this information.
You're pedaling and you're womp womp womp.
Well, I also want to capture stuff, but it's like those money machines that have like air in them, and it's like, ready, you've got 30 seconds to grab as much cash as you can. And it's like, and it's like, ah, like, what do I do?
Which one?
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, maybe it'll come. I don't know. But man, I hope this was helpful. I mean, look, because I feel like your daughter, there's two facets to this. One is that in real time now, your daughter is thinking of you and is communicating with you at least subconsciously, but I feel like she is consciously aware of this. That's one thing. And on the other hand, and these two things are connected, by the way. Well, what I'm about to describe,
Okay.
this is the daughter in real time, and this is the daughter from the past. But because the past is not like separate, it's connected to her childhood. So I want to say that she's thinking of you, she's wanting to connect with you through the theme of inner child,
Okay.
which makes a lot of sense. Uh, so I mean, we could see this as progress, right? But
Oh yeah.
right, but did we say like in the very first session I had with you, it's like she kind of has to go through these bumps herself
Yes.
so that she can learn value herself because she's a stubborn type of person where it's like nobody can teach her anything, nobody can tell her nothing, but she's gonna learn the hard way because
Yes.
that's what she derives the most value from,
Which it
which
confounds me, but yes, that that
it's
that is what
it,
seems to be.
it's
And
frustrating.
we did make progress. She drew two pictures, and that's why it's interesting that you pointed out to her drawing.
Mhm.
She used to draw all the time, and when she left for not quite 4 years, but going on 4 years, um, she shredded all the stuff that she had painted and drawn because
God.
she didn't want us to have access to it. And for Christmas, she made my mom and dad a card, and that was a drawing, and they thanked her for it and framed it. And I think she liked that they appreciated that much. She actually made a handmade ornament Christmas card for them and sent that within like 3 weeks. So it's timely that you picked up on her art, and that's
Mm.
what happened over Christmas. So it's a step in the right direction, but she still has to do it in her time frame. And I recognize that.
This is
I
really
know she's struggling. She did reach out and we helped her. She'll talk to my parents, but she still won't talk to me.
you. So like, she is your twin flame. Do we come to that? Do we say that before?
Yeah, we said that before.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's interesting. It's like,
I know it's not usual because to me, I was like, can that even be possible?
oh yeah,
Because
yeah. I've met people before where it's like they have a pet, like a dog, and they're twin flames.
oh,
Mhm. It can interspecies. Doesn't even have to be the same species. You can
it's
have two.
just so
It is. It's really precious, isn't it? But it's also like, ooh, because twin flames are like very challenging relationships because
right.
the soul, um,
They're learning lessons from each other. They're
yeah, but
mirroring.
how do I want to say it though? Because it's like usually when you interact with other souls and you like strings are pulled, it doesn't. Here's an
If
analogy. It's like the sweaters that you're wearing. Like when you go and interact with somebody, the sweaters don't touch. But when you've got a twin flame that you're interacting with, if you scratch this, they feel it. And it's like if you, like a thread.
it's the quantum physics of we move one
Yeah.
thing moving over here.
It's like the sweater will unravel itself in a certain way sometimes. Um, and they usually like 99% of the time you guys don't recognize it. We don't see it. Even if you're a channeler yourself, you don't always see that shit. Um,
Mm-mm.
and that's what frustrated me the most about my twin flame. It was all of this guilt and internalized shame that I had and needing to people please and throw myself under the bus as a survival mechanism. That's what she triggered in me. And betrayal wounds, like deep betrayal wounds, not just in this life, in other lifetimes.
Ugh.
That's what's so hard about a twin, well, for me, but with many others too. But with
No, I
you,
know twin flames are hard.
yeah,
I didn't
but
in
it's
the beginning. I thought they were all sweet and loving, and then it's only been of the last several years. I'm like, what do you mean they can be hard? I'm like, no one had
oh
taught
yeah,
us that.
oh
Now I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. 'Cause, like if you've got ancient, unresolved stuff, which usually accompanies twin flame pair, it's because the soul wants to heal that, and it's a fast track of sorts to do it that way
I did not know
because
that.
because there's a certain element. I guess I want to put it this way: you can't hide from.
Right.
You can run, but you can't hide with twin flame.
It keeps coming back.
You can kind of do that. You can kind of run and hide from other souls, but you can't when it's literally a part of you that's
Right.
being reflected because it is you in a way.
But you
Yeah.
can't put the flame out, is the best way to, I
Yeah,
think of it.
yeah.
It's constantly burning, even though you can put the candle over here, but it's still there.
Because your daughter's frustrations are not a frustration. They're not just a frustration about you. They're a frustration about why can't I squash this? Why? Because she still feels that attachment and she thinks it's you perpetrating it onto her when you're just kind of doing your own thing. At this point, you've let go and you're just doing your own thing, but she's still getting triggered by it. But what she doesn't realize yet that you've realized is, and both of you are time sensitive, so both of you are a little bit impatient about it, which is why it grinds it too. You're just doing it from different angles, like your heads and she's tails to a coin. Um,
Interesting.
she doesn't see what you might see. simply because you've lived longer.
Correct. And I do recognize that I recognize I see things and she has to be able to mature to be able to get to that level.
Um, but the thing that you don't quite yet see, but you have been since we've been working uh, together, has been around the theme of like, oh, I had it. Bring it back, please. I'm laughing at the dialogue that my guy was telling me. And I don't want it to distract me. That's why. Uh, because he's like, because I'm like, is she ready to hear this? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, why can't I bring it up? And they're like, that's because of you. And I'm like, come on, guys, like really, like the way I'm trying to navigate this field with you, let's say, it's challenging. It's like trying to go trout fishing in rapids.
Rapid hard.
It's like catch the fish. It's like whoa. Um, oh, the value in her needing, keyword needing, which you don't believe fully, to go through this in what you would see as an inefficient way, because it reflects your own self-criticism of what is or isn't efficient in relationships. Because
Not,
you see it as wasted time, wasted opportunities,
I do.
unfortunate things. You still so that's what's triggering you about her because she is literally forcing you to look at that and to heal that, whether
Okay.
you know how or not.
I'm being forced
But
to look at
right, but it's like your logistics and how you like to work. Both you and your daughter like to go fast, and you'd rather just have things done so that you can put it behind you and be like, okay, that's not a thorn in my side. You know, I don't have to look back at that. Is the idea, is the concept that it has been done, it has been shelved, it is there, but that doesn't really exist in
she
this
doesn't,
realm.
right. She doesn't recognize that.
Neither do you, though. Well, let's say you might be able to recognize it, but you don't yet value it.
I don't get the depth of it. Is that what you're trying to
Well,
say?
you see it as a you see it as an impediment
Yeah.
rather than as and she does too, rather than as a gift or rather than as like a good thing. Like it's better that this happens this way. It's best that your life unfolds this way because both you and her see it as like that's shit. Oh, that's shit. Why is that such a waste? Oh, that's my trial and tribulation. That's my, like both of you see it as that and kind of also treat it as this on one hand, it's like a really beautiful source of artistry because artists do this. We kind of like cradle pain and then extract from the pain ball, but it can also be a double-edged sword because the paintball can literally like weigh you down. But in your
Yeah.
both of your case, the paintball is an incredible source of inspiration and truth if you choose to look at it. It's just that it's like uh, uh an everlasting gobstopper. It's like this giant uh jawbreaker that has like a bajillion layers. And both of you want to just bite it, get to the gooey center, but you can't freaking bite something like that.
We got to give it time and get through the layers one by one.
Yeah, yeah. Or you're going to break your jaw. Both of you have both broken your jaws from this. Is that a good
Analogy.
analogy? That's a great analogy, actually.
Yeah. Because you're right. I need to I think what you're bringing up is what they've been trying to tell me that I'm missing because it keeps coming back. I'm not I'm missing something from before. I wasn't looking at something correctly. So I'm thinking that's it.
That's the
This
beauty of your path, though, in it being a path. That is the unblooming itself. That's not the flower. That's not the finish line. That is the path. That is the blooming itself. And because you're a star seed, your daughter is star seed too, because the source, the portion of the soul that's shared is the star seed one.
See, I didn't think about that. I was thinking I knew she was a twin flame because I'm wrapping my head around that. That's like a new concept to me.
Part of the reason that she's like a rolling stone is because she's trying to find safe ground that doesn't exist. She doesn't yet realize that the safe ground lies within her.
Right. Home is where you are.
She's neurodivergent, so her brain works differently than the rest of the crowd. She's trying to appease people and situations and circumstances that provide for the type of person she's not, the majority. That's why
Yeah.
she's constantly having to move from place to place, to have to be different people, literally. She's a chameleon. She's a social chameleon.
Yeah.
She's going from place to place to place to place. She has like no stability. She sees that as an issue with herself. It's actually a symptom of her trying to appease a society or people that she should not be doing. But in trying that for years and bumping and bruising along the way, that itself is the golden path that she asked for in this life, that you asked for in this life, because both of you are being triggered in such a way that you can't ignore, that you can't run from, even if you are running. She's
Okay.
running literally. You've been avoiding things in your younger years, and then now that you're at this certain age, you're like, okay, well, so that's what that is.
That's cool.
Hmm. So there's a succinct way to say it. I just have to try and not distract myself from the rapids. And as we were channeling too, I wanted to say this, but I was like, nope, nope, getting it out first before I distract myself. There's all these sparrows. And then this is it looks like a chickadee, but it's not. It's like an Asian sparrow right there. But we have a nest right here at our window.
Oh, I
And
love stuff like that.
me too. A sparrow just flew right up to it like about 10 minutes ago and looked right at me as we were talking
Oh,
about your daughter. Hmm. So I'll try to
that's
upload. I'll try to upload this particular today's session for you first before I go back and upload the others because I feel like this one was a really interesting session. Probably a lot of bits of information that are like floating around all over for you to piece together as a jigsaw puzzle.
no. How do I get when you do get to those? How do I get to that? Will you
Hmm.
get, let me know how?
I'll create a playlist
Okay,
on YouTube. So
and then I go there.
I'll just upload the whole chunk. And then later on, my wife has a lot of work cut out for her.
And
we're
no
making,
rush, no rush. I just was
yeah.
curious to remember something.
Well, my duty so far is I'll upload the raw client files. It just takes sometimes like hours to do it because they're
Yeah,
hour-long sessions plus.
yeah.
And depends on the resolution too. But I think we'll be able to get a 720p out of this one. Um, cross my fingers on wood. Um, but it'll be in a playlist. I'll just put Christi uh, and
Sounds good.
yeah,
And I
and
want to catch you back that you're already at 9:40 and you got a 12 o'clock that you got to do a pasta salad. We can't let you run over today.
yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I got to get downstairs and cook. Um,
Yeah,
but awesome
'cause
sessions. I love your sessions because
I do too. Thank you.
I am along the ride with you. It's like whitewater rafting. It's like, am I really a guide or am I like having to hold on to the guardrails too?
You're the
Or
guide.
like
You're the guide.
I need a helmet too. I need the floaties. I can't go without them. Other times when I channel for people, it's like I feel like a teacher. I'm up at the whiteboard. They're sitting there. It's a very like traditional kind of thing. Sometimes it just like falls into that.
Right.
But for you, it's like it's different, and I appreciate that.
Well, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, likewise.
Good luck with your pasta.
Thank you. Alrighty. Till next time.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye bye.